Okay, so in this video, we're going to take a look at Mixamo. So Mixamo is a product that was bought by Adobe several years back. They actually have a really fantastic character creator accompanying product that the company before it got bought by Adobe published to Steam. Now that product is abandonware. I'm a big fan of that product. So the Fuse Character Creator is still absolutely one of my favorite tools to create a base mesh or a character when I'm starting a project from. I really love the settings. I really love the options. I find it to be a really fantastic tool. And because it's abandonware, it's completely free. So doing it this process, what I want to show you first is using Mixamo and looking at the character library inside of Mixamo. And then we're going to look at the process of using Mixamo to rig a character as well. So we're going to do part one. Again, this part video is going to be taking a look at the characters already built in and some of the animation library. And then we're going to look at uploading our own character in part two and kind of get the hang of Mixamo. So I will say you have to have your own Adobe ID to be able to use this. And Mixamo is a pretty neat tool. It's completely free. Even if you have a free Adobe account, you can log in and use Mixamo. So you don't require, it doesn't require a subscription. So in fact, my subscription is not what I'm logged in here. I'm logged in with a free account. So if you click up here to characters, there's two sections, characters and animations. And animations is where most people get real excited in Mixamo. But we're going to look at characters first. There is a catalog of, about 200 characters or so that they have on here. Maybe not quite 200. So maybe 100 or so characters that you can choose from. And kind of like in the Autodesk Character Creator, unfortunately, you can't really modify it very much in here, although you can, of course, always modify the texture and stuff later. So if I want it like this character, for example, I could still edit the texture later, or even maybe make extra parts like armor and stuff that I just want to link to it to modify this. But if we want to go too far beyond that, we're somewhat limited. So I will say, keeping that in mind though, if you find a character that you like the general look of, even if you don't like the textures for it, remember that we could edit these in Photoshop. So while I wouldn't maybe be able to modify this helmet, again, I don't know with this guy particular, if this is a separate piece we could just remove, but I don't know if I'd be able to edit the helmet. I could edit the texture of everything else. And if you haven't played around with 3D models and the textures themselves, the amount of stuff you can do just at the texture level is kind of shocking at times. So I don't want to kind of make it feel like that's overly limiting. Obviously, it's not quite as open and free as being able to change the model itself, but you can do a lot within a texture. In fact, I'm going to pick maybe like this character here, which has a very specific look to him. Obviously, this is like a soccer player. And again, I won't be able to do much as far as like these cleats. They're going to be cleats, so we're kind of stuck there even if I change the texture on this guy. But again, I could modify this texture quite a bit later in something like Photoshop. So if you find a character maybe like this guy that is pretty cool looking of a shape, even if you don't love the style, again, you can always modify later. And there's nothing saying we couldn't, again, add attachment points like armor pieces to this character or even some clothing options after the fact. So again, if you find something that you like the look of, I'm going to pick this one just because it's very specific. You can go with it. Now, if you wanted to download this to use inside, again, 3ds Max, you can just pick your character and click download here. And again, it'll download it in a nice T-pose already for it, FBX binary file. Again, we can choose. Again, there's some different options in here. So they do have an FBX for Unity and some kind of older FBX ones too. You have to wonder maybe if the scripts we have might work better with one of the older options. It's hard to say. So let's just download this guy as he is. Okay. Again, this will take a moment, and it's going to download the file. Now, not only can I download this character file here, but you can actually come over here to animations, and there is a vast library. I mean, a very vast. You can see 96 items per page is what my settings are set to, and you can see there are 26 pages. So, again, I'm not sure if the last page has 96 items, but that puts that at hundreds and hundreds of animations that are just freely available for use in any project or animation you want to work with it. So you can see again, I can pick this animation and it applied to any character. Now Mixamo also allows us to upload our own characters too. So while again, you can use this animation library with their pre-made characters like this fella here, I can also bring in my own character as well. So again, I don't know, maybe if I wanted to look up maybe like a walking animation. Again, we can kind of pick it. I will say if you're making this for a game, one thing that's nice is you can click in place. So it doesn't actually move the character, which again works a lot better for like a video game because you want to move the character usually programmably. You can also play around with some of these settings like the posture, making him crouch over more or less. You can change the speed, so if you want the character to move faster, you can make those things. You can also play around with the character arm space. You can see it's going to clip sometimes, so you can see you have to kind of find how much arm space you might need. And on broader characters with more armor and stuff, it is very common that you might have to make their arms a little bit wider out. Honestly, I kind of don't love how the character is looking down here, but other than that, that's not bad. Again, I'm going to pick in place because it works better. So you can see, he's stomping around like kind of a monster. So we can kind of play with the stride. I'm not sure what it looks better. Oh, probably less. Maybe it looks a little more human. And we can put the arms down a little bit more. So again, more of a casual, realistic, maybe human look, less monstrous. But just so you can see how you can modify it. And then again, we can just click it, download. Boom, there it is. And download. So it's as simple as that, and now I'll have an FBX file of this character's animation. Again, if you've worked in some game engines like Unity or Unreal, once you have your character ready to rig, like this FBX file, you can bring it in, and then you can use the tools within those game engines to access this entire animation library. And there are even some people that have kind of collapsed this animation library into one file with multiple animations in it and different things that you can find on those marketplaces. A little off topic, but I want you to see again, that's how easy it is to again create or to download one of these characters from Mixamo. So we'll upload our own character next so you can kind of see that process. And we'll also create a video of us converting this character over for 3ds Max.